one clip into two of these alien critters, as they call them. And yes, they are mortal, but I got also, as soon as that happened, as I was reloading, I never got the clip into the gun. They hit me in the chest with some kind of particle beam weapon that gave me a very high dose of nuclear radiation, similar to cobalt radiation, but not quite, even more nasty. And I was in isolation afterwards for 50 some odd days, 57 days all total, and it took another couple of years to recuperate. Once again, I was in, my body was in a traumatic situation. But here I am talking, so it looks like here we go again. But I've got the scars to prove it.
I can verify that they are there.
Yeah, so they're there. It's pretty gross.
There.
It's pretty gross, and I don't want to. There are ladies. There's a ladies present here. So let's not raise the shirt here. But they're there. And basically, in talking about alien agenda, we have to also be talking about what occurred over here. This is the Bikini Atoll test. Now here we have an actual extremely large, in quote, mothership right at the point of neutron flash cloud. That's like 2 or 3 10,000ths of a second after the initial blast. And of course, the date of this was 12 July 1946. As we all remember, if we read our history on UFOs and how they started, it wasn't really known. As a matter of fact, after Roswell, we remember that there was a Senate hearing and a House of Representatives hearing, a closed-door session hearing, but a little bit leaked out in the public, and it stated that the government knew nothing about UFOs prior to that time. And these different pictures with UFOs actually in the pictures, actually with the original language, show that, I'm sorry about this, actually show that the government lied to the Congress of the United States. They knew full well what was going on at least a year prior. Of course, I believe the Roswell incident was 2nd of July of 1947. This occurred, of course, 2nd of July. I think the earliest A-bomb blast, 12th July, 12 July 1946, almost a full year before they were supposed to know anything. And here we have these streaks, and these are the classic discs that have all been pictured like this. Kind of look like the Top Hat series, as I call it. And of course, they're kind of coal black kind of thing. Because some of them have a radiant, have atomic propulsion systems underneath it. Those streaks have all been confirmed as being just that. They're a Type 3A flying disk. And we have these small white dots. White dots. By the way, these guys here are receding from the ocean, taking the trajectory. They're getting out of there in the worst way. They'll probably not make it because of the radiation factor. But they're exceeding at speeds in excess of 13,000 miles an hour. And the white dots are exceeding 30,000 miles an hour as they're leaving. And they have actually changed the color. They've almost gone out of scope. And you're seeing a photograph, very rapid photograph of a blurred image. Some of the photographs go from a black splash or dash to this white dot system, and then they go out of scope of what we call visual reality. And that takes some tremendous speed to do that. In this particular overview shot, which is an extremely rare photograph of an atomic blast, there's only, as far as I know, this is the only one ever shown to the public of an overview of any kind. There are small dots and dashes basically, as I'd say, and these are old garbage scows and ships and whatnot that they put in harm's way to see what the reaction would be of an atomic blast. And I'm sure the atomic testing was conducted predominantly in case we had to be prepared in using atomic warfare to fight alien influence, and they needed a cover story, so this was the Russians and the Cold War and everything was just a perfect cover story. Although it later became more than a cover story, as we all know. These particular photographs also show small dots and dashes, as I would say, and all of them have been confirmed. Now this black system here in the atomic cloud is actually time being ripped up, of course the atmosphere and the clouds and everything, and then time being warped by the initial blast itself, and that's by neutrinos going through and ionizing space, ionizing the atmosphere and whatnot, but exceeding the speed of light, so you produce an antimatter background and you get total blackness. And of course here we have another UFO similar to these here. But once again, we haven't been told the truth on any of this. We've been right here, also in this picture, in the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is of Nagasaki. Down at the bottom, we see the characteristic human face, which is typical of all A-bomb explosions over populated areas. You will always find a human face at the bottom of the mushroom cloud. Now, nobody really knows if this is just by coincidence or the makeup of the cloud or whatever. But these little dots and dashes, these white dots and dashes, are receding at better than 30,000 miles per hour, and they're UFOs leaving the scene. Japan was infested with them. Their Navy had counted better part of 2 million of them toward the closing end of World War II. Once again, it's all part of an alien attack of planet Earth. It's been going on steadily since World War II era. It's still going on, only now is subverted into large quantity, large groups of human beings being actually abducted and implanted, and that's according to the Roper report, which is part of the Remington Rand Corporation, who did the reporting, the Bigelow Holding Company. Now they're in a third generation report, and of that third generation report that was sent out to all the clinical psychologists in the United States, 110,000 of them, stated that basically women are being raped by aliens. And I know as fantastic as that sounds, it's backed up by John Mack, Harold Wire, who's an MD as well as a clinical person. John Mack is the most famous, but there's some 90 concerned psychiatric scientists who are trying to form an organization to prevent secrecy on the subject, because if they have mentioned this, there's nothing but government-sponsored rape. 99.3% are women, 0.7 or 0.7% are men. They're abducted and implanted. So it's predominantly a female type monitoring system. So once again, the alien agenda is to disturb the natural progress of the human race, and to alien agenda means. And of course, there's another thing to mention: any outer space alien, regardless of who they are, how benevolent or how evil they are, they're a biological hazard, because we have no defense against their germs. Absolutely none. In fact, they can kill us just by being around. I developed something like jungle rot. I still got it on my feet and on my back, and because of the Dulce, New Mexico thing, I get free hospitalization for the rest of my life. I think I'm a good guinea pig, I guess. But theoretically that